Well, I wanted to give you all a preview of the new fiscal year 2021 to 2025 Transportation Improvement Program before you take action on this at your meetings next month. And I wanted to start off with a quick summary of the TIP, particularly for the benefit of those of you that are not familiar with this process. And the TIP is one of the main documents that we as an MPO are required to produce based on federal and state legislation. And the purpose of the TIP is to identify all the transportation projects that are funded in our region over the next 5 years with federal or state funds. So any federal or state funded transportation project has to be included in the TIP. But we have the option to include locally funded projects in the TIP for information purposes, which we do since those are important projects as well. And the TIP is updated on an annual basis, so we'll be bringing this back for a preview about this time next year for the new TIP. Now this slide shows the amount of federal and state funds that are programmed over the 5 years of the TIP, and these are split out by the main categories of projects in the document. And all of these federal and state funded projects have to be approved by our board for inclusion in the TIP in order for these projects to move forward and be implemented. And as you can see, this amounts to over $3.7 billion worth of projects. Now the process of developing this new TIP started last year when we put together the fiscal year 2025 to 2040 prioritized project list. And the prioritized project list is another document that we update every year. We like to call it a bridge document because it links our 2040 long-range transportation plan with the 5-year TIP. And you all will also be hearing a preview of the new prioritized project list at your May-June meetings, but this is the one from last year. And this document included a list of highway, transportation system management and operations, or TSBO projects, which I'll talk about more in a few minutes, and then bicycle pedestrian projects and transit projects. And each of these lists were ranked by priority as candidates for funding, and FDOT used this list in developing their fiscal year 2021 to 2025 tentative 5-year work program, and then we used the work program to put together this new TIP. I wanted to start off by looking at the highway projects that were in last year's prioritized project list. These are divided into 3 categories. The National Highway System projects are major capacity improvements to I-4. So these are mainly the I-4 beyond the ultimate improvements. And as most of you know, this involves having 6 general use lanes and 4 managed toll lanes in the I-4 corridor, as well as major interchange improvements. Then there's a list of projects on the state roadway system. And these are a mixture of different types of projects. Some of these are widening projects where they're adding lanes to existing roads, but most of these are non-capacity, what we call context-sensitive or complete streets projects, and these are designed to help improve traffic flow on existing roads without adding capacity. So they can include a combination of different types of projects, such as minor intersection improvements, putting in bicycle pedestrian facilities, adding bus pull-offs along the roadways, and so on. And then there's a similar list of different types of projects for roadways that are mainly off the state road system. And the link on your agenda also includes a copy of last year's prioritized project list, which I went through and updated to highlight those projects that have had significant changes since last year. So I'm not going to go through the whole list, but I mainly just wanted to focus on those projects that have had new phases funded in the new TIP. So starting off with the National Highway System projects on I-4, there really weren't any significant changes on that list since last year, so I'll just quickly go through these. The number 1 priority on that list is the I-4 beyond the ultimate from west of the Polk Osceola County line up to State Road 528, and that's still funded through right-of-way through fiscal year 2024, so that's unchanged from last year. Number 2 is the Beyond the Ultimate section in Seminole County from east of State Road 434 up to the Seminole-Volusia County line. And that's still partly funded through right-of-way, although some additional added for that in fiscal year 2025. The number 3 is the ultimate from west of the State Road 528 to west of Kirkman Road, and that's funded through right-of-way in 2021. And priorities 4 and 5 on that list are the ultimate projects in Volusia and Polk counties, and those are outside of our region, so I don't have slides for those, but those were on our list just for information purposes. And then number 6 is for the construction of truck rest stops along the I-4 corridor throughout the 3-county area. And FDOT completed a planning study on that a couple of years ago, but at this point, no phases on that have been funded. Then we have the state road system projects, and there were several projects on that list that now have new phases funded in the new TIP. And these include the 6th laning of State Road 50 from Chuliota Road to State Road 520 in East Orange County. And this project had been proposed by the Florida Turnpike Enterprise as the Colonial Parkway, which is a limited access freeway. But based on cost estimates and revenue projections, the Turnpike office is no longer pursuing that project. So this is now a regular 6 laning project, which is now funded for construction in fiscal year 2025. Then the number 2 priority on that list is the 6 laning of John Young Parkway from Pleasant Hill Road to Portage Street in Kissimmee, which includes a flyover at Pleasant Hill Road. And that overall project is still partially funded through right-of-way, but there is an interim intersection improvement, which they call their quad road improvement, which is over $8 million, and that's now funded for construction in fiscal year 2025. Now, the rest of the projects on this state roadway list that had new phases funded are generally non-capacity complete streets type projects. These include number 10, which is a context-sensitive project on Orange Avenue, and Lake Road Avenue, and that's now funded for construction in 2021. And then going to number 38, we have a context-sensitive project on State Road 50 from Kirkman Road to Tampa Avenue, and the segment from Pine Hills Road to Tampa Avenue is now funded for construction in 2024. The other segment from Kirkman to Pine Hills Road is still unfunded. Then number 39 is a context-sensitive project on Orange Avenue from Hoffner Avenue to Pine Lock Avenue. And this is tied in with priority number 10 from Sand Lake Road up to Hoffner. And the segment from Hoffner Avenue to Mandalay Road is funded for construction in 2021. The other segment from Mandalay to Pine Lock Avenue is still unfunded. Then number 44 is the extension of left turn lanes on Fairbanks Avenue from US 1792 to Ward Avenue in Winter Park, and that's funded for construction in 2021. And then finally, we have number 67, which is a context-sensitive project on State Road 436 from Wymore Road to Boston Avenue in Altamont Springs, and that's funded for construction in 2023. Then we have the projects that are off the state road system, and there were several projects on that list that have new phases funded. The number 1 priority on that list is a streetscape and bike and ped improvements project on Edgewater Drive from Lakeview Street to Parr Street in Orlando, and that's now funded for construction in 2021. And then number 5 is the Southwest Orlando Bicycle Pedestrian Study, and the planning study for that is funded in 2021, and this was recently a TIP amendment that was approved. Now, number 6 is a context-sensitive project on State Road 434 from State Road 417 to Franklin Street in the Winter Springs Oviedo area. And this is an interim project prior to the 4-laning of this same segment of 434, which is on the state road list. And this project was put on the off-state road list at the request of Seminole County as candidate for MetroPlan's SU funds in the hopes that this would be funded more quickly. And this is now funded for design in 2021. And then I combined priorities 10 and 11 on the slide there. This is the context-sensitive project on Virginia Drive, Forest Avenue, and Corinne Drive from Orange Avenue to Bennett Street. And the planning study for this was completed last year, and this is now funded for design in fiscal year 2025. And then we have two projects in the city of Longwood. Number 12 is a context-sensitive project on Warren Avenue from St. Lawrence Street to Millwee Street, which has a planning study funded in 2021. And then number 13 is a context-sensitive project on East Church Avenue from County Road 427, Ronald Reagan Boulevard, over to 1792. And that is now funded for design in 2025. And then finally, we have number 17, which is a context-sensitive project on Winter Park Drive from Red Bug Lake Road to State Road 434 in Castleberry, and that has a planning study funded in 2021. Now, I wanted to deviate from last year's prioritized list for just a couple of minutes and talk about major toll road projects. And toll road projects are not included in the prioritized project list because they're, of course, funded with toll revenues. And so they're not candidates for the federal funds that the other projects on the list are candidates for. But obviously, toll road facilities are very important within this region. And so I just wanted to briefly talk about some of the major capacity toll road projects that are either currently under construction or funded for construction within the next 5 years. And of course, this includes the Pkwy Parkway project, which has been underway for a number of years now. And just wanted to quickly go through that section by section. The segment from US 441 to Round Lake Road is in Lake County, and that's still under construction, and that should be completed in the very near future, sometime this spring. Then the sections in green have all been completed and are open to traffic, and that includes all the sections in Orange County and a small section in Lake County. And then the section from west of Old McDonald Road in Lake County to I-4 in Seminole County is still under construction, and that should all be completed sometime in 2022. And then Florida's Turnpike Enterprise has several major capacity projects either underway or funded for construction on their roadway system. And these had originally been shown in the 5-year work program TIP as variable toll express lanes or managed express lanes, where commuters would have an option to pay a higher toll to use the express lanes to get where they're going more quickly. But based on traffic projections, the Turnpike office has decided that these express lanes are not really needed. And so these projects have all been changed to regular 8-laning projects. And so the 8-laning project on the Turnpike main line from Osceola Parkway to State Road 528 is still under construction and should be completed sometime next year. Then we have the 8-laning of the Turnpike from US 192 to Osceola Parkway. That project is still funded for construction, but that phase was moved out 2 years from fiscal year 2022 to 2024 in order to help balance the funding in the 5-year work program. Then we have the 8-laning of the Pike from State Road 50 to Lake Orange County line, which is still funded for construction in 2021. Then we have the 8-laning of State Road 528 from I-4 to McCoy Road. This project has been under construction for a while and is scheduled to be completed sometime this summer. Then the new interchange at the Turnpike and Sand Lake Road is still funded for construction in 2022. And then there's an interchange improvement at the Turnpike and Kissimmee Park Road in near St. Cloud, and that will change that from a half diamond to a full diamond interchange. And that's funded for construction in 2024, and that was also moved out 2 years from 2022, again to help balance the work program. Then the 6-laning of State Road 417 in Seminole County from the Orange Seminole County line to Aloma Avenue still has construction underway, and that's tied in with the 6-laning of 417 from Econ Lock Hatchie Trail up to the county line, which is done by Central Florida Expressway Authority, and that project should be completed sometime later this year. And then now we have a new project on the Turnpike list, which is the 8-laning of State Road 417 from Aloma Avenue to State Road 434, and that's now funded for construction in fiscal year 2025. So going back to the last year's prioritized project list, we have the Transportation System Management and Operations, or TSMO projects, and these are projects that are designed to help improve traffic safety and traffic flow that are comparatively less expensive than major capacity projects. And there was only one project on the TSMO list that was funded in the new tentative 5-year work program. And number 7 on the list was the intersection improvement at Rouse Rd and University Blvd in Orange County, and that's funded for construction in 2025. However, we have 3 other major TSMO type projects that we anticipate will be funded for construction in the new adopted 5-year work program after July 1st. And I've listed those here. These include the upgrades to Orange County's traffic signal cabinets and traffic signal controllers, and then also the expansion of Orlando's Bluetooth travel time system. Then we have the regional trail and school mobility projects, which are bicycle pedestrian improvements. And there were several projects on that list that have new phases funded in new TIP. For the school mobility projects, we have 2 projects that are both in Osceola County, and both of these are funded for design in fiscal year 2023. And these include the KOA Elementary School Sidewalks Project on Laurel Avenue and the Bella Lago Academy Sidewalks Project on Pleasant Hill Road. And then there were several regional trail projects that have new phases funded. Number 1 is a Little Econ Trail Phase 3 project in Orange County, which has a new right-of-way phase in 2024. Number 2 is a Kissimmee-St. Cloud connector in Osceola County, which is funded for construction in 2023. And number 5 is a Pine Hills Trail Phase 2 in Orange County, which is now funded for construction in 2025. And then number 14 is the Altamont Springs East-West Trail connector in Seminole County, and that's now funded for construction in 2021. And then last year's prioritized project list has a list of locally funded roadway projects, which are candidates for Transportation Regional Incentive Program or TRIP funds. And those are state funds that are used for regionally significant facilities. And local jurisdictions can use these funds for their local road projects, but in order to do that, they need to provide at least 50% in local matching funds. And there weren't really any significant changes to this list since last year. None of these projects received TRIP funds in the new 5-year work program. But there are 2 projects in Osceola County that had received these funds earlier that have PD&E studies underway. And these include number 2, which is the 4-laning of Neptune Rd from Partin Settlement Rd to US 192, and number 5A through C, which is the 4-laning of Simpson Road from US 192 to Osceola Parkway. Then finally, we have the transit projects. And these include a list of that are regularly implemented by LYNX, and I'm not going to go through all those, but these include purchasing new buses and other vehicles, operating expenses in major traffic centers and super stops and so on. And then for the last 5 years, MetroPlan has had a policy setting aside up to 30% of this area's district dedicated revenue funds or DDR funds, which are state funds, for the operation of premium transit projects. And premium transit projects are those projects that have been specifically identified in the 2040 Long Range Transportation Plan as being over and above regular fixed route bus service. So these would include any type of rail transit, such as commuter rail, light rail, and so on, as well as bus rapid transit in the exclusive corridor, trolley systems, or things of that nature. And these projects are divided into different categories based on their eligibility to use the DDR operating funds. And so category A are those premium transit projects that have had their feasibility studies completed and are the most ready to use the DDR funds once they're up and running. And there weren't too many major changes to this list. We still have the Sunrail Phase 3 as number 1, and that would run from the Sunrail main line near the Meadowwood Station over to the Orlando International Airport. Then for number 2, we have the LYA connector, which will most likely be a bus rapid transit system running from the Orange County Convention Center over to the airport. And then number 3 is the US 192 BRT project in Osceola County. And then number 4 is still the State Road 50 BRT Express bus, which would run from downtown Orlando out to the UCF area. The only change to this list from last year is the State Road 436 Corridor Premium Transit Complete Streets project. This had been on Category B since the planning study had not been completed. But last year that study was completed, so this was moved up to Category A as number 5 on the list. And then the North-South Limo expansion project in downtown Orlando was moved down to number 6, and the ITS Enhanced Transit project in North Orange and Seminole counties was moved down to number 7. And then Category B are those projects that have not had their planning or feasibility studies completed yet. So once those studies have completed, these should be eligible for the DDR operating funds and will move up to Category A, but right now they're not eligible. And the only change to this list, again, was just moving the 436 corridor study project up to Category A. And so these other projects all moved up one spot. So now the number 1 priority is the Innovation Way Corridor Enhanced Transit project in East Orange County. And then priorities 2 through 4 are the Campus Circulator, Fixed Guideway Transit, and Intermodal Station in the International Drive area. And then Category C are those projects that are just enhancements to LYNX's existing fixed route bus system. So these are not considered to be feasible, premium transit projects, and would therefore not be eligible for the DDR operating funds. But these just include the expansion of LYNX's fixed route bus fleet, as well as the expansion of bus service on selected major corridors that have been identified by LYNX. So that's an overview of last year's prioritized project list and how some of these projects have been funded in the new 5-year work program. Again, this will be coming back as an action item at the June-July round of meetings. Also, we will be having a public hearing on the TIP, and that's scheduled for Monday, June 22nd, and that will be starting at 5:30 p.m. And this year we'll be doing it differently. It will be a virtual meeting, and that will be on our website. And of course, we'll be sending more detailed information on that later on. So with that, that concludes my presentation. Thank you.